doing your lace. So lace is different again. It's tricky in that anything that's three-dimensional, you want to break the line so that it looks textured. If we just use a flat line to draw something like this, it won't look as you know, textured. So I guess the trick is with rendering fabric that you're always trying to exaggerate whatever's going on. So, you know, if it's a little bit kind of textured, you really push it. And so you can sort of, you know, it makes it able for you to sort of make mistakes as well. You can always sort of come back and fix things up a little bit more when you're a bit more defined, when you're defining it. So something like that. You know, having done that, I now realise I haven't left enough space down the bottom, but you know, because I haven't really made it obvious what it is, I can now go and add that onto the bottom. Just so sort of leaves way for. But the idea is that you can roughly sort of get things going, and then afterwards clean them up, add more detail. Even, you know, if you put too much colour on, you can always sort of get in there with your white pencil and soften it, something like that. This one you would use a black pencil to put in your background. I'll just go and grab one. And so something like a background for something like this, be very delicate, say hardly touching the page. And the general rule with pencil when it's used like this is you build it up. You don't sort of just get in there and push really hard. It's, if you want something to look darker, you first put on quite a light coating like this. For something like that, lace, this would be as heavy as you would go, but if just so you did want it deeper as you come back through second time. The other way is to actually work in a circular or sort of oval kind of way, and that stops it getting too linear. Make sure you have something under your paper so that you don't pick up any texture of the underneath object. So this one, knitwear. Knitwear is the hardest because you've got to draw that, you know, this is crazy difficult, this kind of thing. So I guess if we're going to analyse it, we could say that it's broken up into three. And then this one, sort of that shape coming out of there, maybe a little bit more there. So you really need to establish this before you go in there with your proper pencil. So I guess, yeah, through the middle what you've got is this zigzag happening. So if you get that established first, the right angles, and then you can sort of come out from there. Now that's probably the easiest way to do it actually. I've done that before. You can learn. Maybe, hang on. Something like that. And then the bit on the side is sort of like a ropey kind of thing. The thing with that is keeping it the same width. Well, once you've established that, obviously make it a lot lighter. There are these rubbers called putty rubbers or kneadable rubbers, and they look like Blu Tack. They're similar, but they're very good for lightening pencil work because it doesn't destroy the tooth of the page. So you could sort of draw something and then lighten it like that. And get your pencil and because you want to make it look three-dimensional, what you need to do is draw it very lightly to begin with, and that way if you make a mistake like I just didn't make it curvy enough, you can fix it. And maybe get it nice and curvy, the shape. No, something like that. And then you can put your depth in later. Again, you're not pushing too hard because you really don't want to make it too solid. Keep that texture. And then if you want to shade parts of it to emphasise that join or the deepest area, something like that. Okay, this one, it's pretty tricky, this one. It's, based on this diamond pattern. If you were illustrating it, you'd need to find a pencil with a similar colour, and you'd sort of need to establish how you're going to draw this. So, it's a stem, it's got a little thingy on top, it's got this sort of shape, it's got two flowers like that coming in like that, then it's got the leaves, it's got a little leaf and a little leaf. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's tons of them. Once you've done an example of it like this, you sort of understand its principles more. So what we could do is then just, again, very lightly, and it's sort of, is that halfway where those, sort of the halfway mark is sort of in between where the flowers are and where this bottom big leaf is, because it's quite spacious sort of up towards the top of the flower here. So that's the important part of the design, is keeping space and density obvious. So sort of line that up, that in, try and keep everything the same kind of size, and quite abstract. You don't need to be really perfect with your design, provided you get the right weight of what's going on. So yeah, I won't do the whole thing. Something like that. Because I don't have the right colour, I might have to mix my colours. So it's purple, so I might sort of come through and just put some little dotty kind of marks on there, so that sort of mixes maybe to create that colourway. I could even try a bit of pencil to dull it down, but it's all going to get a lot thicker and muddier. Depending on what you're doing, sometimes it's worth going out and buying a pencil that colour. I've got about 1,000 pencils, but at the moment I've only got my dish of Faber-Castells, not them. Okay, so this sort of bit that's just really delicate happening through here, I would just use a clip pencil for this, because it's kind of greyish anyway. Provided it looks sort of curly and the curly bits are in the right space, it's good to go, that sort of thing. So I could then sort of come through afterwards and just put a little bit of colour on. Okay, so the weight and texture of things are the most important thing, not sort of getting the design absolutely perfect. Otherwise you just scan your fabric, take it into Photoshop and use the computer, which is probably the easiest way to do things like that. Now, those wax crayons I was talking about that are different colours. I don't have any on me at the moment. I tried to buy some, but I think everyone's bought them because of coronavirus. They're also raided Kmart. So, and what happens, so that's a wax pencil that I've used there, and then you put your paint over the top and it repels. So really that's the easiest way to do a fabric print that say might have light colours with a dark background, much quicker than you know, trying to paint it all in. You could use your white gouache to sort of mix up these colours and then paint them on top. And I have even used a quill for really fine areas of work, so you can get nice fine lines. Or you could be very careful with your brush. So this one up here, that was our sequins. This one is more sort of, you know, what happens when you put a second coat of paint over the first coat, it gets a lot darker. And that was this idea with the shadows, you know, if you're painting in a shadow area, then it's like that. The other thing with the sequins is that if you want to make a star, so that's the centre of your, and again with these, you push them so that the ink comes out, and then you just sort of use the tip to drag the ink rather than push. So the way a star works is that it's longer and then it has little guys coming out like that. And you know, just say you've drawn a dress and you put these on, you only want about 3. Any more and it might look a bit Barbie, but that may be the look you're going for. Well, good luck with that.